Hello, my name is Nicole7. Here's my family, and here's a video about my journey as a minister in the United Church of Christ.
There's never been a time in my life where I didn't have the United Church of Christ as part of my spiritual journey. I was raised in the Open Door Congregational Church in Eastern Washington in a small town called Deer Park, and the name comes from its sort of founding story where it would welcome people in off the railroad in the late 1800s, and then in 1914 when an influenza struck the area, it was a place where people could recover and heal. And so my whole life it just served this wonderful purpose of being a place where all were welcome. It really was an open door for people of all kinds, different political perspectives, even when that was challenging, different economic points of view, and it really taught me the best of what church could be as a place where all were seen and loved and welcomed as they are. Oh my gosh, when I went off to college, I was craving a place to ask newer, deeper, different questions, and I really was wrestling with my faith altogether, and I was starting to read books like Christianity Must Change or Die and Meeting Jesus Again for the first time, and I found that kind of community at the First Congregational Church of Tucson and the Campus Christian Ministry Group at the University of Arizona. And both of those places said, keep wrestling with those questions, don't give up on those questions, keep going on this journey. It is about the questions, not the answers. So my first two churches were in historic, idyllic New England settings with lots of history and tradition. And I loved that. I really relished being a part of that community and that sense of long history and story. But it wasn't long before I was craving, kind of wondering, what would it be like to start from something from scratch, without what often felt like the baggage of history, and who might be drawn to something that was totally from scratch, that was a spiritual startup. And so that was the question that drew me to Silicon Valley.
So I did go to the Silicon Valley with the dream and the vision of a spiritual startup, and there were so many generous people who helped make it happen, and people of all kinds who were into it. And there are lots of stories I could tell, but there's one story I want to tell, one wild and wonderful story that sums up the adventure of starting something from scratch. And it's a very simple idea of an Easter egg hunt, not about grabbing the most, but about sharing. And we had no idea how many people would be into it, but we figured it was worth trying, and we set about inviting our friends and neighbors, and the week came, and we had no idea if there would be 5 people or 500 people, so my family gathered to help stuff the final eggs. And on the day of the event, I was there in the field alone, not sure how it would go, and not before too long, some high school students came, and it turned out a whole class had decided to make it their project. And then another class came to help, and then slowly families started to arrive, and then more families, and by the end the whole meadow was filled with people from all over the valley who had come to share Easter eggs. And it was such a beautiful day and a wonderful moment at the very early part of the spiritual adventure. And what I've learned, having served congregations on the East and the West, old and the new, that all of us need a place to belong, and if given the chance, we'll share. I'm really excited to join you on this next adventure in collaboration with you, to learn your traditions and rituals and to build new ones together. What an exciting time for all of us. See you soon.